Are you a real estate agent and you want to know what things you can do to ensure that your listing presentation is going to encourage sellers to want to select you as their realtor of choice? Then stay tuned. I'm going to dive into that. My name's Tierny Jordan. I've personally taken 20 listings in 30 days, and I'm going to share with you the top things that have helped me take 20 listings in 30 days involving my presentation. All right, so let's jump in, guys. So number one, it's important to know that 90% of sellers use an agent to sell in 2021. So according to the National Association of Realtors, they did a profile of home buyers and sellers, and 90% of sellers were assisted by a real estate agent in selling their home. So once we get your listing presentation in line, you're going to position yourself to be a part of the agents who are actually taking listings. So one thing that I found, you guys, that you need to start doing if you're not already doing is there's some work we can do up front to make that listing presentation process go a lot smoother. One is depositing value to the real estate market. So our goal is to get more listings, right? That's the goal of having a great listing presentation. So I want to deposit value to sellers in the marketplace, right? One thing that we use to do this is we have a seller resource website. On that seller resource website, we give seller tips. We'll show them how to attract buyers, the best time to sell a house, if they can back out of a contract. We give them tools to check their home value. We give them tools and information on how to increase their value. If they're thinking about buying before they sell, we have resources on that. We give them tools on pricing a home, information, seller checklist, how to sell their home fast, and then value of their house. So these are some of the things that we provide in our seller resource site. So I recommend that you have something that you're doing to deposit to sellers. Some of the tools that we use, so this is what's our home worth site. Just to give you an example, this is our page on we know what makes their home sell. We give them information on educating them on the whole process. We share more about our home selling process and how it's stress-free, what we do to make their home stand out, right? Stuff like this is critical in a shifted market, which we're experiencing throughout the US and Canada. How to prepare their home for sale, what increases the value of their home. So we have like a home value calculator that we provide. Will remodeling increase their value? We give them a home maintenance checklist. The other thing that we do, you guys, knowing that the majority of people who buy have a home to sell, a large percentage do, right? So we give them information on how to get free money on the buy side. Okay. Another thing that we do is we're not salesy in our approach, okay? We don't have commission breath. The whole overarching feeling that we give to people is we're here to help you. So whether you decide after we have our conversation that you don't want to sell, it doesn't make sense for you, or you decide to sell, we're going to treat you the same. We're going to give you the same amount of value. Okay. So make sure you're not salesy. Make sure you don't have, I call it commission breath. So it's not all about the commission. It's all about what's best for the client. So we're not going to sell. We're going to help them solve problems. All right. Another thing that I found is critical in having the best listing presentation is knowing who that client is. So when I have that first conversation with them over the phone before I meet them, I'm identifying what their personality type is. That way, it's going to be easier for me to build rapport, to present things in a way that helps me that's easier for their personality style to receive, I'll say. Okay, so if somebody's a high C, I know that they're detail oriented, right? So I'm probably gonna send them stuff on the front end before I even meet with them. Pricing information, market information, just so they're prepared, right? If they're a high D, D is our bottom line. They want you to get straight to the point. So I'm gonna have a bottom line approach, right? I'm not gonna try to, have small talk with them, because that isn't something that they like to do, right? High I's, they want to like the person that they select, right? So I'm gonna build rapport with that person. I'm gonna sit down and ask how they're doing, how their family's doing. So this is just an example of how to identify the different personality styles and do's and don'ts. So make sure when you identify who they are, you tailor your presentation around them. All right, the other thing, guys, the National Association of Realtors, they do a study every year and they show where buyers ended up finding the house that they purchased, right? So almost 80% buyers come from the internet and real estate agents. So I'm gonna show through my listing presentation how I'm gonna get that seller's house in front of every interested buyer, right? So I'm gonna show how I'm gonna demonstrate how I'm gonna get their house in front of the internet buyers, how I'm gonna get their house in front of buyers working with a real estate agent, right? So some of the things that we do is we realize that video is a powerful tool, right? So that's one way we ensure to get their property in front of interested buyers online. We know that video is going to increase the click-through rate significantly, right? 65 to 95% more people are going to click on a video opposed to a still photo, right? So we give an example. We show our previous property tours, which I'm going to show you one of ours here. I'm going to pull up the YouTube channel. So it doesn't have to be anything super complicated, but what we do when we have a property that's sitting on a nice piece of land, or there's a lake nearby or something, we're definitely going to include aerial photography and videography. And we're also going to do the property. So I'll just give you a quick glimpse. So this is one of our properties that we have listed, and we're going to start with that drone aerial videography. And we're going to show the view, water view, which is beautiful. And then we're going to go straight into the property, and we're going to walk through the property with the video as somebody it's like they're walking through the home, right, with the video. So we're doing this complete video tour for them. Make sure everything is bright, open. You don't have a whole bunch of junk everywhere. I tell my clients, make it like an Airbnb or a hotel. So people don't want to go into a home and they feel like it's heavily personalized. All right, guys. So you get the gist of that. Let's go back here. All right, so I showed you the videography. Some additional things that I want to say about video and why it's a powerful tool and a secret weapon for you is if someone consumes at least 3 seconds of your video, you increase their purchase choice intent by 40%, okay? If somebody consumes at least 10 seconds of your video, you increase their purchase choice intent by 72%. So we're gonna do a complete video of the property. As I mentioned, if it's sitting on a nice piece of land, we're going to show that and highlight that. If there are some great features about the community that it's in, we're going to highlight that via video. We're going to create a single property website for that particular property. if you have a video on your main website, you are 53 times more likely to show up on Google's first page of results. So we're gonna show this. We do video for buyers thinking about moving to that community. So this was a listing that we had in a specific community that had a ton of features and amenities. So we did a highlight video on that. We also, as part of our listing presentation, we collect past client video testimonials. That helps us through social proof to build rapport with that seller. So short past client video testimonials, I typically do them at closing. I don't want them to be too scripted, but I let the client know, like, hey, I would love for you to share your experience, what it was like to work with us, and if you would refer us to any of your friends and family. Most people are going to say yes, unless it was not a good situation, something happened, which happens every once in a while, but most people are going to be more than happy to give you a testimonial. So I typically do that at closing, and I keep it short and provide that. And don't overcomplicate the video. Don't feel like you have to be in a studio. People like the real, so make sure it's not overcomplicated. We're pushing our email blast out for that property because remember, almost 30% of buyers come from a real estate agent. So we show that particular seller, all of the buyers that we have in our pipeline that are looking in that particular area. And we do really value-based email blasts out to the database. So we show, this is one thing that we show is we show them what our click-through rate is, our open rate. Let's pull this back up here. So our open rate on this particular campaign that we ran for one of our listings was pretty significant, all right? So almost 50% open rate. So we show that. And then we're posting our properties on social media as well. So according to the 2021 NAR Tech Survey, social media was one of the top 3 tech tools used. So with our flyers that we're putting out there, they're nothing overcomplicated, but they're definitely professionally done. The photos that we use of ourselves as well as the property that we're featuring are all professionally done. So we show this, and then we want them to get to know us and trust us, and we let them know that this is going to be a partnership, and throughout the whole process, from our initial online engagement to like our first communication to the first face-to-face, and then from the whole contract to close process, we're going to be there every step of the way. We're going to communicate with them. And even if it's a team, we're going to present ourselves as the team and let them know that somebody from our team is going to take care of them. And somebody from our team is going to make sure they always know what's going on. And they will hear from us. So that's very important. Another thing that we do is we want to provide them something that they're not going to just receive or be able to easily Google online, right? So we want to provide some customized value. One thing that we do in terms of our customized communication is we provide them a predictive market analysis report. So we're letting them know, hey, this is what we think the value of your house is right now. And this is what we think it may be worth in the next 3 to 6 months. And of course, if we use our numbers, we take into consideration absorption rate. We're taking into consideration what we know is coming in the market. We're taking into consideration the seasonality, all those things. So that's something that has been very powerful for us, is showing them what their house could be worth in the future. That's very helpful. Another thing that we do is we ask some very specific questions, you guys. So to make that listing presentation even more powerful, Having a conversation up front about their current situation, right? What's their motivation, right? How we find their motivation, how we dig into it is asking them their current situation, asking them what it is they want to, why they're moving, right? And we want to get to the pain. So for us, the pain is not, oh, I want to move because I want to shorten my commute, but I want to hear, I want to move because guess what? I've missed every single one of my daughter's soccer games because by the time I get to the other side of town, her game is over. That's what I want to hear, right? So being able to get their motivation is going to be helpful in terms of your listing presentation because you're going to be able to talk them through how you're going to take them from listing to closing so that they can be closer and not miss another one of their daughter's soccer games, for example, right? Have they thought about selling their property themselves? That's something that I want to ask them, right? Part of my presentation can be if they have thought that, I'm going to provide them with a few tools to try to do it because I know the majority of sellers aren't going to be able to sell without a real estate agent. So if I come, I meet with you, I give you a few tools to help you sell it yourself, right? You're probably going to call me when you decide to go ahead and list with an agent after you've not been able to do it yourself, right? So asking that question up front, are they meeting with other agents or have they already met with another agent? So I'm going to ask that question, right? What are they hoping to get for their home? And that can be tricky sometimes for people to ask because they may get confused and say, well, that's why I'm calling you. But we know that they have an idea in the back of their mind of what they want. And that's what I want to know. And I let them know, hey, I'm not going to hold you to this number, right? I'm not going to use this number as a gauge on my pricing, right? I'm still going to run numbers. I just want to know what your expectation is, right? So if the market is going to give you at least what you want or more, right? Before I come out, because I don't want to waste your time if the market's not going to give us that. Or I definitely want to help you get the most the market will bear. So you may think your house is worth a lot less than it is. So at least it gives me a gauge to figure out what your expectations are, right? So that's important to know, you guys. What's their home, what they want for their home. The other thing is, how much do they owe, right? Don't be afraid to ask these questions and then get some information on where they want to go to, right? What location, what price point is it that they want to be in? That could help some people go ahead and be ready to list. So a lot of times we're sitting down with them and we've already pulled up the perfect property that we think will fit them for their move once they sell. And this helps get that listing process and presentation solidified and done with, right? It helps us get to the closing table with them if we know what they're looking for. It helps us get to that next step quicker. Another thing that we ask is, are they planning on using cash or a loan? So if they're planning on using a loan, we want to know, have they already started that process? If they haven't started that process yet, what's their credit score look like? So just asking some questions so that at the end of the day, when we go out and we sit down and present to somebody, we want to be able to go, if they fall in love with our marketing, right? If they like us, if they fall in love with our marketing, if the numbers make sense, we want to be able to go ahead and sign on the dotted line right then and there, right? So we have to make sure we get all these questions out up front, right? So I would, if they are going to use a loan, make sure they talk to a lender before you go out and meet. Showing value in your presentation also encompasses knowing that specific market, right? So one thing, I'm in the Dallas area. I know that 1 in 8 buyers in the state of Texas are international buyers. So I'm going to market every property that we have internationally. And we show these prospective sellers how we're going to get their property in front of these international buyers. I mentioned the professional photography, videography, the personalized website, staging. We also do buyer matching in our database. One thing that's pretty cool that we do is the reverse prospecting. So remember I said 30% of buyers end up finding the house that they purchased through a real estate agent. So we want to make sure that every realtor who has a buyer that's looking for a house similar to ours knows about it. And one way that we ensure is through reverse prospecting. So this is a sample of a reverse prospect list. And we showed something similar to this in our listing presentation because we want the seller to know that we're not going to leave any stone unturned, that if there's a potential buyer out there, they're going to know about this property, right? So our reverse prospect list is all the agents who have emailed our property to one of their buyers through the automated search in the MLS, right? And unfortunately, we have to individually look up their direct phone number because the reverse list that we pull automatically gives us their broker office number. So we have to manually look each one up because what we want to do is we want to call and text each agent to make sure that they don't overlook our property. And a seller can look at this and see that a lot of work has gone into this. So this is part of the value that we provide. And then we make sure that they know that we're going to stay in contact with them through the process. So this is our step-by-step process for each type of category. So if you gained any value from this, you guys, I hope you take some of these tools and put them into your process so that you can have a better listing presentation and essentially get more listings. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. But if you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you want more information, please subscribe. We're posting more content and videos to help you in your real estate sales business. So subscribe if you want to be notified for our next videos. All right, guys, have a blessed one. If this video brought you some value, like it. If you want to hear more, make sure you subscribe so you can get updated when we are providing more value. We are delivering content weekly on how to either double your business or keep your business consistent and not lose out even as the real estate market shifts. If you want to know our exact step-by-step process and learn a little bit more about our systems, fill out the form below.